In the very first minute on Chinese soil, two cameras immediately swiveled toward them. And just like that, their adventure in China officially began. Edu and Sofi, a Brazilian couple behind the YouTube channel Ponto Azul, are sharp-eyed travelers who love spotting cultural quirks. Before China, they had already explored much of the world. For their first trip to China, they crossed the border by high-speed train from Hong Kong. Visas ready, tickets booked, VPNs installed, and hotels arranged on Agoda. In Hong Kong and Singapore, they once lived in stylish apartments for free by pet sitting. But on the mainland, without a mature legal and trust system, that idea is almost unheard of. Still, they were excited to see what China had in store. They had barely sat down on the train when the real story began. Not the ride, but customs. Sophie glimpsed an officer's screen. Not only Edu's passport and visa photos, but shots of him walking, backpack on, from every angle. That unexpected photo show was the first jolt of how different China mainland felt from Hong Kong.
Esse daqui foi a imigração com o maior número de câmeras que eu já vi na minha vida. Eu nunca vi tanta câmera no mesmo espaço, igual foi na imigração de Hong Kong para a China. E o mais cabuloso disso tudo é que é o mesmo país. A gente cruzou a fronteira de um país para ele mesmo.
Mas cá estamos.
Cá estamos.
And the tip for fellow travelers? Always check your passport stamps. Sophie demanded a fresh stamp when hers smudged. Because once, Edu nearly lost his chance at a Thai driver's license thanks to a blurry stamp. Lesson learned, never underestimate the power of ink. Upon arrival, they exchanged Hong Kong dollars for renminbi and stepped out of the metro station. Excited, they pulled out the camera to capture that very first moment of setting foot on Chinese soil.
China!
Uau, nossa!
Ó.
China Inbox.
China! Eita!
Ela riu ali. Aqui é Ni Hao, hein?
É Ni Hao. Ni Hao.
Ó, dois chineses ali que a gente já esbarrou, meu
Eita!
filho.
Esqueci que aqui tem disso, né?
Tem muita bicicleta já de cara, né?
Nossa, peraí, deixa eu parar aqui pra ver que eu ainda tô...
A Sofia está absorvendo aqui o ambiente ao redor. Bom, duas câmeras aqui em cima já de cara e a câmera mexeu quando eu apontei a nossa câmera para ela.
The two cameras overhead didn't scare them. Instead, Sophie eagerly shared her first impression. Sound of birds, calm streets, a silent army of e-bikes and EVs gliding past like ninjas on wheels.
Com certeza isso aqui é um arranha-céu. E aqui em cima, olha, no cruzamento mais câmeras. Parece que é um país com muitas câmeras, né? Pelo que a gente está sentindo aqui nos nossos primeiros contatos.
At a crossing with no traffic lights, they were stunned when a car actually stopped to let them pass. Something that would never happen in Hong Kong. But soon, trouble began. Even with a VPN, Google Maps was useless. Hardly any restaurants or addresses showed up. Chinese apps like Baidu Maps were not much better. No English, no photos, just endless confusion. Their puzzled looks drew attention, and more than once, locals tried to help. Meanwhile, e-bikes kept zipping down the sidewalks so close they nearly got clipped a few times. Finally, after a long search, they reached their supposed destination, only to find nothing there. The Agoda booking was a scam. Frustrated, they had no choice but to scramble for a last-minute place to stay. Talk about a rocky start. But what impressed me was how they didn't let the setbacks ruin their mood. Once they found a new place to stay, Edu bounced right back, kicking off a little culture class of his own.
Gente fina, e ele ensinou pra gente os números, o jeito que eles contam os números aqui na China. A partir do número 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, né, normal, aí depois 6, 7, 8, e 9 é um negócio assim, 9 e 10 é 10, normal. Mas aqui na China, quando a gente foi pagar, por exemplo, a passagem de metrô, ela fez assim com a mão, falando que era 6, que era 3 pra cada. Então eles usam outros símbolos gestuais aí pra falar os números.
Next, they settled into their new life in China. Since they planned to stay for a few months, they decided to buy a local SIM card to make using Chinese apps easier. The building security guard warmly led them to a mobile service shop. The staff there spoke English. proudly introduced his hometown of Yichang and even video called his family so they could meet these two new friends. Edu and Sofi noticed something striking. Whether it was the guard or the shop staff, everyone they met had come from other parts of China to build a life in Shenzhen, a city known as the country's most vibrant and welcoming hub for newcomers. What surprised them most? To buy just one SIM card, they had to show their passports, get registered, and even have their photos taken. In China, buying a SIM card feels almost as serious as applying for a visa. After that, they jumped into travel vlogger mode, tasting local food, exploring supermarkets, until Sophie's knee pain suddenly disrupted their adventure.
Então agora bora, né? Pra estação.
Bora pro hospital,
Ai,
bora
meu
pro
Deus,
hospital.
que medo. Eu fico ansiosa de ir para o hospital, ainda mais na China.
Travel rule number 1, avoid hospitals. Rule number 2, if you can't, at least pray someone speaks English and that your insurance will pay for it. Sophie's tender pen smashed rule number 1, so Edu went full detective mode with the insurance app. Jackpot! Hong Kong's University Shenzhen Hospital. With a name like that, how could they not find an English speaker? After breakfast, they headed to the hospital. Inside, the lobby looked empty and clean. They didn't expect to see a police office set up at the entrance of lobby. Yes, in China, after a string of violent patient-doctor incidents, hospital security is tight. Everyone passes through a scanner before entering. They registered, and shockingly, their consultation was set for just 30 minutes later. So they wandered around. Vending machines where you scan to open the door and grab your drink. Hot water dispensers calibrated to 45 degrees Celsius. That's about 113 Fahrenheit. Power banks for rent everywhere. Most people were using self-service kiosks. Scan a code, register, pay, print reports, even book your next visit, all without a receptionist. No wonder the lobby is empty. Sophie, unfortunately, also discovered the dreaded squat toilet. Bad news for her knee. Expecting a long wait, they pulled out their laptops. But nope, the doctor called them in almost immediately. The only letdown? The doctor's English was basic at best. Still, the consultation was quick. Nothing serious, he said. Prescribed some meds. And that was that. The bill? Around 100 RMB for the visit, 200 something for the medicine, total around $50 US. They were not entirely reassured and asked about tests. The doctor explained tests had at least a 2-week wait unless they tried a smaller hospital, where same-day tests might be possible. Downstairs at the pharmacy, the efficiency theme continued. Scan the prescription, pay instantly, wait for your number, pick up your meds. Everything worked like clockwork. They hopped on the subway to the second hospital, the one the doctor had just recommended. After their first ultra-efficient hospital experience, they were a bit more relaxed this time, even taking a moment to admire the buildings along the way.
Já estamos chegando aqui no segundo hospital do dia. São mais ou menos 5 horas da tarde agora. Essa cidade é gigantesca.
É muito grande e por ser muito grande a gente fica tempo, né, no metrô, fica um tempo
Muito
maior.
tempo,
Foi
ficou
uns
quase
40,
uma hora.
40, 50 minutos pra vir pra cá.
E olha, aqui já dá pra ver uns prédios bem bonitos aqui, uns arranha-céus gigantescos. Como vocês viram aí nos últimos vídeos, é uma cidade super moderna.
Aquele prédio é muito grande.
É, esse daqui é grande, viu? Ô, louco. Temos ali também, olha aquele ali, gigante ali atrás. Vamos ver como é que vai ser. Será que a gente vai conseguir ser atendido hoje ainda?
Tomara.
Resolver isso logo, né?
They really needed to fix the knee as soon as possible, because ahead lay hiking plans and trips beyond the big city.
Galera, a gente chegou num hospital que ele é um pouco mais tradicional, assim, não é tão moderno quanto o outro não. Inclusive aqui foi mais barata a consulta.
Foi 25 a
A gente vai
consulta.
fazer a consulta de novo, R$25.
At the smaller hospital, the doctor spoke better English and explained everything clearly. Nothing wrong with the knee, just inflammation. After a thorough check, he reassured her, no need to worry, no tests, no extra medicine, just 1 or 2 weeks of proper rest. Sophie lit up instantly. This doctor totally rocked it. With 2 doctors reaching the same conclusion, she finally felt at ease. That's when Sophie began to really look around. The hospital might have looked traditional, but wow, gadgets and machines were everywhere. What a day! Stress, relief, and adventures all rolled into one.
Vambora, né?
That was Eddie and Sophie's first taste of China. Shocked by cameras, scammed by a booking, and then blown away by the sheer efficiency of Chinese hospitals. If you are curious about what happens next, stay tuned. Until next time.